Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome you back to another episode of our Planet Zoo franchise mode Let's Play, where we're diving right back into Elite Zoo South for some quality times. That's right, folks. The moment we've been waiting for a very long time, the moment that many of you have been waiting for a very long time, we are finally returning to the Australia section, adding a brand new animal today, and if my horrendous pun right off the bat didn't give it away, I'm sure the thumbnail or title probably did. We are adding the koala today. It is a sort of a one of those iconic animals, I would say. When people think about Australia, it's one of the first animals that comes to mind, you know, apart from the kangaroo, and there are a couple others obviously, but I feel like that's up there, right, as one of the first animal related images or whatever that comes to mind when thinking about Australia. So that is the next one we're going to be adding. And as much as I like to joke around and pun around, quality time is actually going to play a bit of a driving force with regards to the plan and the idea I have for the enclosure. Now, that's not to say I'm not taking it seriously. I am obviously taking it as seriously as I take, you know, all of the enclosures. But I do have this this idea that I hope that I can pull off, and I hope I can get that. You know, I hope I can get that pun to mean more than just a silly joke, I suppose. Folks, on the topic of quality and having a quality time, I just want to mention, as always, if you are having a quality time with this series and you would like to see it continue, you know what, I'm pretty happy about that one. But if you would like to see it continue, please don't hesitate to let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below. As always, it makes a massive difference in how I approach content on the channel, what I do more or less of, how I go about doing it, when I do what I do, and, you know, why or how, again, I go about doing it all. So do keep those likes and comments coming down below, folks, if you are interested in seeing more Planet Zoo on the channel. If you have any thoughts, opinions, suggestions, feedback, feel free to include all of that in the comments as well. I do try to address all the comments. I do try to cover them either through my words, either through a direct reply in the comments, or through my actions. So, you know, rest assured that your thoughts and opinions are being weighed into my decision-making process. And as I say that, we come over here where things look a fair bit different. And you might be wondering, when did that happen? Well, folks, on the topic of quality time, I had a little bit of an unfortunate time at the beginnings of this recording. I recorded a whole sort of intro section before I dove into our time lapse, and things, not to get into too much detail, but things went horribly wrong with that recording. So I made a little bit of progress during it, which I'll just recap. It's not a lot at all. I will recap some of the things that you've missed because I had to re-record this introduction. And fortunately, I noticed the issues before I dove into the time lapse, and we will be together for the time lapse from start to finish, and then everything after that as well. That's the downside of something like franchise mode, where it automatically saves. Oh man, I can't even imagine if I'd finished the entire thing and then noticed the issue and then been like, oh wow, that footage is lost forever. That would have hurt. But fortunately, that's not the case. It's only minor stuff that I will touch on. The plan with today's session, folks, is, again, slightly different from what the initial plans were, thanks to technical issues, but we're just going to quickly touch on some of the stuff that I did previously. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're going to take a look at the koala's entry in the Zoopedia. We're going to talk about their requirements, their desires, their wants, their needs, and then we're going to go ahead and establish their enclosure over here. I've got some plans, like I was saying earlier. I'm really excited for them. They are driven by this kind of new mentality and new approach that I've been trying to work on a little bit as well. So really pumped to finally integrate that from the ground up with a new enclosure. Don't worry, there won't be tons of waterfalls. Yeah, there shouldn't be too many waterfalls. I don't think there will be a waterfall. There might be like a slight drop in water level, you know, like a height drop, but that's not a waterfall, right? That's just natural how thing. Anyway, we'll get to that when we get there. So that's the overall plan. But as I was saying, the first step of this grand plan is to touch on a couple of the things that you might see that are different. Now, over here on the topic of, again, looking at everyone's comments and again, I want to stress this. I appreciate everyone's feedback and opinions, and I do take it all into consideration. And actually, on this note, I want to mention something as well, that over the last couple of episodes, I would say, I've received a lot of stuff to consider that sometimes contradicts each other. Like one person's opinion will contradict another person's opinion, which is natural, of course, right? There's so many of y'all watching and enjoying. We're all having a wonderful time, hopefully. But some people want to see something, others want to see another thing, and I always try to strike a balance. I always try to find a way to make sure everyone's happy. It's obviously, it comes with its own challenges, but I do try to balance out the time we spend on enclosures and adding new animals versus the time we spend on beautification and the time we spend on, management. I will say something that stood out to me and something that I wholeheartedly agree with regards to that feedback I've been receiving, is that it's been a while since I've sat down with the animals and just managed some of the animals' needs. Last session especially, it kind of stood out because there were so many animals reaching adulthood, mating, and all that kind of stuff going on, and I felt like I was dismissing all of these announcements, completely focused on and distracted by some of the work we were doing. And I am happy with the work we did, but I feel as a result of that, there were a couple of comments that pointed this out as well, and again, I do agree. We've spent some time away from the animals. Today, I hope to get a little bit of management work done after our time lapse, and take care of some of the needs, especially of the kangaroos and stuff. I think they're getting a little crowded back there. So I intend to do that, and then next session, we're going to be doing a fair bit of management as well. The plan is, again, this session we have this time lapse. We're also going to be taking a look at the new staff members that we have, new named staff members. And then initially, I know I'd said next session we'll be doing the sponsor boards, but I think what I'll do instead is next session we'll do a management session, and the session after that we'll do a beauty pass. As is always the plan with the sponsor boards, we'll do a beauty pass. And with that, we will add the new sponsor boards as well. And I'm really excited for that. And I'm also really excited for the management session coming up. But with all that said, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, folks, but this is really important to me to know what y'all are interested in, what y'all would like to see, again, more or less of, as I always say, right? So I would love to know how you all feel about the pacing and how things are going overall, so that I have a better idea of what more of you sort of feel, whether it's positive or negative, one way or the other. It just gives me some indication of, what I might need to tweak, and that's always welcome. Anyway, okay, finally, on the topic of things I need to tweak. Immediately after I finished recording the last session, immediately after it was all packaged and rendering and everything, I wasn't very happy with the giant, disc we had up over here that I was planning, and I was, I guess, happy to see that same thought was reflected in the comments as well. Many of you, in fact, I believe everybody who talked about that platform, 9 out of 10 people that talked about the platform or referred to it in their comments, mentioned it in a negative way, that they didn't like it. And again, like I always say, I welcome this kind of stuff. Calling it negative isn't a bad thing. Critique and feedback is good. I want to make that crystal clear. I agree. I didn't like that either. I think I settled for it. Right, I thought it was oh yeah, that looks neat. It works nicely from up over here, but the impact it had on the space it was really contrary to everything we were going for over here. So instead, I think I'm going to do this kind of concave viewing platform instead, so you can stand over here and enjoy the view. It's not really a viewing platform for the enclosure from this far out. I mean, I might extend it even further so you can stand all the way over here. But again, I don't think you'll get a good view of the animals or anything over here. But it will be a nice spot to sit down, grab a bite, look at this beautiful space, enjoy the waterfall. We'll have to put up a bit of fencing and stuff like that to prevent children from falling over, and perhaps some adults as well. But honestly, more likely adults than kids. But yeah, I think this kind of concave layout works a lot better. It doesn't intrude in the space, keeps the space feeling a bit more open and airy. There were some suggestions about a glass floor, but the glass flooring is not really an option in the game, unfortunately. And beyond that, it would still create this structural mess, and then having to build the supports for it. Too many issues. I like it clean, and I'm really pleased with this space. Anyway, enough of me rambling about that and about comments and about feedback. I do apologize if it seems a bit much, but I guess it's something that I think about a lot. It's something that I consider a lot, and I take into account a lot. And sometimes I feel like just emphasizing it, because I think it's important to express just how important that kind of stuff is to me, to understand what I'm doing right or wrong. So enough about that, though. Let's move on, shall we? it's time for us to take a look at the wonderful new animal we're going to be adding to the zoo. No, I was wrong. It's so weird to me because I'm re-recording this like intro section, like as I mentioned earlier. So it's like I feel like I've already done things, but I haven't because that was a separate recording. Before we look at the Zoopedia entrance, we're actually going to welcome our new named staff members. Now, by virtue of the the recording having caused issues, we kind of have an edit and all the names are already in place. And I want to mention though, that if I have somehow missed your name or anything like that, please don't hesitate to remind me. Either, put another comment down below if you're a channel member. If you're a patron, shoot me a private message on Patreon. It really helps me stay organized. So if I've missed anything, I apologize. Feel free to point it out. And again, this is just staff names today and 2 sessions from this session. So not the next one, but the one afterwards. We're going to do a beauty pass that will include the new sponsor boards. So our newly named staff members, let's go ahead and start down over here with our vets. The new additions over here are, and again, before I start this entire section, I just want to mention, if I butcher names, please forgive me. I apologize. Don't hesitate to correct me. So first up, among our new vets, we have Ashley Horan and we have Rita Aitama. Both of you joining in, a warm welcome to you. These are all names from prior naming sessions, and I will say as well, while looking at vets, I get a lot of requests for vets. I try to get the names in chronological order of me getting the request, and as we add more vets to our staff. So if you're not yet in the list, I apologize, but don't worry, I do have you noted down, and I do have it top of mind that when we get more vets, you are top of the line chronologically. So apart from new vets, we also have a few new keepers joining us. Let's go on all the way up to our keepers. So the first of our new keepers is Nick B. Then we also have up over here, Gabby Rota. I'm not 100% sure. Please educate me, illuminate me. And then finally, we have also Caitlin Seltzer. A warm welcome to our 3 new keepers as well, please. So with the staff all discussed and taken care of, are you taking a bath? No, okay, refilling feeder. I was like, what is Crimson Gamer doing over here? That looks like a little bathtub, but no, refilling feeder. Okay, interesting. I've never taken the time to look at these icons and try to like parse out what they might mean. Waiting for customers. You know what? It's actually occurred to me that I've never quite paid attention to these icons as much as I'm doing right now. But procrastination aside, let's get to work here, folks. I'm going to go ahead and teleport us to a nicer time of day, because if I hit play and try to get us to the morning, we're going to be dealing with all sorts of issues. Like even if we just look at the kangaroos really quickly, we've got infertility from being too old. We've got, why are you? Oh, a little early on the infertility there, Janali. But we've got stuff we need to take care of, and I think the kangaroos make a very clear case of that. So I don't want to hit play and then get distracted by 100 different notifications, and the next thing you know, we don't have a new animal, we don't have a new enclosure, we don't have anything done, and it's already a 3-hour session. As fun as that sounds, it wouldn't be, trust me. But yes, let's go ahead and teleport us to a beautiful, bright, sunny day and take a look at the... Man, can you guys not? Why? I mean, fine. You know what? As a part of this time lapse, we're gonna add some more bins and stuff over here as well. But just like, why? This means you grabbed something to eat, and then either on your way to the ride, or after coming off of the ride, you were eating on the ride, and then you decided to like walk part way here and just go, yeah, I'm done with this now. How? What drives a person to do this? Yeah, okay. Stay on task over here. Over to our non-littering koalas. They are so cute. They are so adorable. Apparently, though, their mating calls are horrifying, as y'all have told me in the comments previously. Actually, on that note, I should mention, I'm fairly certain that we have looked at the koala and all of the Australia animals. I'm going to go ahead and scroll these spiders out of view here for those of you that are disinclined to seeing spiders. I'm pretty sure we read through all of these when the Australia DLC dropped. That's when I was sort of like I started reading these animal entries out. I've really enjoyed doing it as we go into an enclosure creation, though. So for those of you that missed it, or, again, it's been so long since then, so I feel like it's nice to touch on this stuff, and that way we'll know exactly what we need to keep in mind as we're building the enclosure, and it just helps get our head in the game, so to speak. So, the koala, often referred to as a koala bear, and every time that happens, people get very upset, as they should, but koala. The Phascolarctus cinereus is how I think that's pronounced, is vulnerable, but this is a population count of 80,000 from before the 2019 fire season. This number is almost certainly significantly lower right now, because it's been bad over the last, year, two, I guess now, right? That's been 2 fire seasons, 2019's fire season and then 2020's fire season. So they're marked as vulnerable in the game, but actually I kind of wish I'd checked now. I'm not 100% sure if they're still vulnerable or if they've dropped to near threatened. By the way, to those of you that don't know, this is actually an official format of tracking animal endangerment levels and stuff. So these are, like, if you Google an animal and check their vulnerability status, you will actually get a very nice chart that explains where they are. So I'm not sure if these guys if they've dropped from vulnerable, but yeah, it's rough. The Queensland koala bear. Oh, hey, there it is. See, now, I've always... I used to be in the habit of referring to them as the koala bear as well, but is that they're not a bear, right? A koala bear is inaccurate, right? They are the koala, right? I'm like 99. Okay, I was 100% sure. You might have heard in the confidence in my voice as I joked about koala bear, but now I read this and I go, well, hang on a second. If Planet Zoo says koala bear, no, it's got to be wrong. Yeah, y'all let me know, because I know many of you will know in the comments, so feel free to let me know. So the Queensland koala is an arboreal marsupial that lives in the eucalyptus forests of eastern Australia. They have great brown fur, stocky limbs with dexterous claws, rounded fluffy ears, oh so very fluffy, and a face with a bulbous black nose. They are a sexually dimorphic species, meaning the males are significantly bigger than the females. And this is when I remember, yes, we absolutely read this, because I have rambled about this in the past, and bear with me, but I just want to be clear to anyone listening. I don't want people to be misled. Now, maybe I'm mistaken, but sexual dimorphism, this sentence implies sexual dimorphism means the males are bigger than the females. That is not correct. Sexual dimorphism means males and females are physically different. They are identifiably physically different. That's sexual dimorphism. Males being significantly bigger than females is a specific example of sexual dimorphism. So, just gonna clear that. And I vaguely remember doing this rant before, because that sentence structure throws me off. Yeah, just to be clear. Now, Queensland koalas are between 60 to 75 centimeters long, with males weighing between 4.2 and 9.1 kilograms, and females weighing 4.1 to 7.3 kilograms. Both sexes feed almost exclusively on eucalyptus leaves. Part of the problem, actually. Well, they're not, but that is an issue. The species is vulnerable, threatened by natural hazards such as drought, predation, and bushfires, but their situation has been further compounded by human activity. Deforestation of the eucalyptus forest in which they live has caused a reduction in their numbers, and their habitat has also been fragmented by land use changes. They are also often killed on roads, and additionally, disease is a significant problem, with at least 40 to 52% of the population being infected with chlamydia, which causes koalas to go blind and become infertile. As a result, populations are being researched and sick koalas are being treated and rehabilitated where possible, while there are groups dedicated to replanting eucalyptus trees for them to feed on. It is a fairly active, if I'm not mistaken, a fairly active effort in preserving the koala with their adorable noses, ears, and little paws. There's a pretty active effort, which is always nice to see, to put it plainly. The natural habitat, of course, is Australia, They do not require too much space, but knowing me, they're going to end up with a lot more than just 180 meters square per animal. No need for water. They need some climbing, so I need to remember that, unlike what we did with the Jaguars, right? And then temp will be fine there. Time proof, of course, needed. And they are tropical and temperate biomes, so we should have some good options as far as, vegetation and stuff is concerned. And again, this newfound approach to those topics is really going to feature in this enclosure, or so I hope. So I'm really, I'm excited. Get hype. Species data. Group size, excluding juveniles, is 1 to 4, up to 1 male, up to 3 females. Bachelor sizes of males 1 to 3 and females 1 to 4. Interesting difference there. Curious. And dominance, males fight for access to females. Mating system is promiscuous, the relation with humans is confident, and guests are able to enter the habitat. We are going to be allowing, I think, at least my plan right now is to allow guests into the habitat, but not in a traditional sense, if that makes sense. We'll get into that when the time lapse kicks off. Size, we've looked at 2.7.2 versus 26 inches, 13 years life expectancy, weight of 14.3 versus 11.22 pounds. Age of sexual maturity is at 4 years, sterility at 15 years. So again, I guess if they live beyond their life expectancy, they still go sterile. 1 offspring per mating event, 8-month gestation, and 12-month interbirth period. Curious also to see if they have unique animations for birth, like for offspring and stuff like that. Social needs. Koalas are solitary animals, but their home ranges often overlap. They will tolerate nearby koalas. It's kind of funnily contradictory to part of my my idea, I guess, in a funny sort of way. But moving on, reproduction. Male and female koalas both have home ranges. The larger and more dominant of the males tend to have larger home ranges. The ranges of both sexes will overlap, meaning they are likely to interact with one another. Males detect female receptivity by scenting their urine, also marking trees with their chest scent glands and urine, before bellowing when there are receptive females around. I've heard this is apparently a horrifying sound again. Males of all ages will both seek out females, but the younger males are likely to be chased off or prevented from approaching females by older, larger males. When a male wants to mate with a female, he approaches her aggressively, usually using his superior size and strength to mount her. This often elicits a negative reaction from females. I love the word choice. Yes, this often elicits a negative reaction from females. Yeah, you'd think. They vocalize loudly and attempt to fight the males off, but koalas' sexual dimorphism means females are often outmatched by larger males. They will, however, be more likely to be able to fight off younger, smaller males. This contributes to why larger males are more likely to successfully mate. A pregnant mother will give birth to one joy between 33 and 35 days after mating, but it is extremely underdeveloped, born in the embryonic stage. After birth, it climbs from its mother's reproductive tract up her belly fur to her pouch, where it settles and exclusively feeds from the 2 teats therein for the next 5 to 6 months. When it leaves at 6 months old, it will be fully weaned by 11 to 12 months, becoming independent from its mother at around 1 year old. Or when the mother's next joy is born. Oh man, just moving on. Young koalas remain in the near vicinity of their mothers until they are about 2 years old, and then will roam farther afield. Very well. Research status, of course, we've got, actually, we know some of their enrichment stuff, but nothing much else. They do get along with red kangaroos, and I have seen some requests to integrate them into the red kangaroo enclosure, but I want to try and do a little, walkthrough kind of thing. We don't often get to do shared enclosures. We also don't often get to do walkthrough enclosures. Those, I guess, more often than not. But with Africa in this zoo, we're going to have a lot of habitats with multiple animals, so we're going to have plenty of that going on. This is an opportunity for a walkthrough in the Australia section, though. So that is all we have to talk about as far as the animals' wants, needs, desires, requirements are concerned. I'm hoping to sort of cordon off a space over here for them, just around over here or so. Because again, we have the cassowary as well as the dingoes as well. And then there's, of course, the skink that we'd like to add too. Now, there is one more exhibit animal from the Oceania region that we can add alongside them. So I just got to figure out where I want to implement them, and I also need to figure out actually how I want to. Well, actually, I think I have a good idea of how I want to connect these enclosures and make sure we have a proper loop forming, because again, we got to make sure people are looping back. And I also want to make sure, it's hard to predict, but I feel like we're going to connect to the Africa section up over here as well, so that guests can loop up or loop back, and that way we'll have a fully, you know, looped up zoo. Yeah, that all makes sense. All right, folks. All my rambling done. That's us looking at the Zoopedia entry done. It's time for us to dive in and give these koalas a space to call home. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time-lapse time. All right, folks, this is the longest time-lapse I think we have ever had for Planet Zoo on this channel. Literally recorded over 2 separate days, because doing it for 1 day straight was driving me absolutely wild. And it just, I mean, it's a long one. We do a lot. We experiment with a fair bit of things. And I'm not gonna lie or pretend, but at the end of it, I'm very pleased with what we have at the end of it. Especially so because I was really struggling with certain elements, and I think you'll see, and I think you'll be able to tell what I was struggling with. But it all worked out. But beyond that, there is still a lot of work to do. Well, okay, no, that's not fair. There's not a lot of work to do, but there is still some work to do in the area before I can truly call it done. The problem is that I have a vision in my head that I really want to try and execute, and I don't mean to sound pretentious when I say that. Saying I have a vision sounds so, yeah, you know what I mean. That's not what I mean, though. Well, I have an idea of what I want to try and execute over here, and again, I think I mentioned this before the time lapse. I can't remember because that was technically recorded many days ago now. But again, I'm trying to take on this new challenge, this new angle or approach or whatever you want to call it. This new, just some new elements of the game. I'm trying to take them, into my make myself familiar with them, introduce them to my wheelhouse. Think of all the metaphors and turns of phrases you can when it comes to basically saying I'm trying to experiment with some new stuff. So those experimentations continue over here. I want to make a nice, maybe, I don't know I think intimate is what I'm going to go for. I don't think we get to intimate just quite yet with this time lapse, but a nice intimate walk-through exhibit where, and I believe I made this joke before the time lapse, but I also clarified that it is an integral part of my approach over here, but it is all about spending quality time with the people that you sort of came with. And quality time can mean many different things to many different people based on the relationship. When I say quality time and relationship, I mean, friends, family, loved ones in either of the formats of love, whether it's platonic or familial or romantic, what have you. Really kind of touching on that and fluffing up the cheese factor a little bit with that. I thought it'd be, again, quality time is a pretty, expectable pun, I suppose. Quality is an expectable pun when it comes to koalas, but I really wanted to play off of that and try to do something with that, I suppose. And I think I managed to get there with the idea, and then the execution is mostly there apart from what's left to do. But I am really excited for this. Enough of me rambling about all that, though. So let's talk about what's actually going on over here. So again, still sticking to the use of concentric circles and intertwining circles and all that stuff. So using that to kind of build a transition from the old space to this new space, the old enclosure to this new enclosure, and then building this walkthrough section over here on this circular platform of soil in the middle, using water to act as a bit of a barrier. The koalas can swim, much to my surprise. Much to my surprise after this time lapse, but it's not the end of the world. Don't worry about that. Also, again, on the topic of quality time, right, and everything I was touching on, establishing a little heart shape over here in the middle for the actual walkthrough pathway. Just a cute little thing that I thought would be nice to integrate. And you can see my hesitation and my contemplation and my just every step of the way, I'm so nervous about things not working properly, things not looking right. You'll see a fair bit of that, and I think that's where a lot of the time actually went. I was also, second guessing a lot of these things, and I'm glad I did. I was just like, how do guests come down here? Have I made enough room for this? Will they be able to go over? Will they have to go under? I would rather they go under, but I was experimenting with literally any option, any possibility here, because it is such a densely packed space. But ultimately, things work out, which is great, but I am glad that I spent the time doing that here and now today, rather than regretting not having done it previously. And again, this is all stuff that's added to the production time of this time lapse and taken away from work on the enclosure, which is why we end up with an enclosure which, while I'm happy with it and I like the concept of it, there is still some work to do at the end of it. Anyway, yeah, so just making these minor adjustments here and there. So yeah, as you can see from the top-down view, there's a couple of ways to get over to that middle ring, that middle circle, and then over to the little heart-shaped path where guests will be able to walk among the koalas. I intend to have little vendors right below the stop, the monorail stop. I intend to have food and drink available there, and then I intend to have some seating available on this little platform that is the platform over the water between the kangaroos and the koalas. So there's some of that stuff still needs to be implemented as well, which I think we'll get to maybe next session, perhaps, or maybe the session after that. I'm not 100% sure yet, but that means guests will be able to stop over here, pick up food, sit down, and eat. And I want to build a bit of an experience around that. Again, this whole, like I said, and I wasn't making light of the. I wasn't like it wasn't a throwaway line. This whole quality time thing is a driving force of this entire space. So the idea of sitting down, relaxing, grabbing a bite, enjoying the scenery. I want to make this a garden space. I want to have a lot of vegetation and stuff in the area as well. I do some of that today in today's time lapse, but there is still more work to do over there as well. Again, still learning, still getting better at that element of the game, at those types of decorations and whatnot. But pretty happy with where we end up today. But there is still a lot of work to do on that front as well. But yeah, over here again, establishing. Again, extending the platform back over here to establish a proper, platform, and we will have the path continue up to where the stop is to integrate some stores over there. Might make it look like like a bar or restaurant. You can't really do too much because of how the vendor stalls actually look in the game. And then here, just an outer ring. The thing that's gonna bother me most about this enclosure is that I, almost without a shadow of a doubt, know that the guests aren't going to use it how I hope for them to use it. But I guess I'm okay with that. I guess I'm fine with that. I guess going into it, I've known that would be the case, so I shouldn't get too worked up about it or anything like that. But I do build these spaces that I would love to see get used as intended. We'll see. But yeah, so we've got the. Also, this always just looks to me like a smiley face with like its hands sticking up over its head. If you look at it, if you tilt your head 90 degrees clockwise, you can see the smiley face with the two giant arms looping around over its head. But that aside, the idea is, okay, you go to the kangaroos, you see the kangaroos, you use this ring to either get to the platform, which will allow you entry to the walkthrough, or you don't want to do the walkthrough and you go around the outer ring. And again, using those concentric circles and all that, familiar imagery, I suppose, from this part of the world to drive some of the decision making over here. A lot of path work. And path work, as you very well, I'm sure, know by now, takes me a lot of time sometimes. Maybe it's just me, maybe other people feel this way as well, but wow, that took some time. Next up, building a barrier. I was trying to be very cognizant of the fact that we cannot have climbable pieces as a barrier. So I decide to use, again, we've got these concentric circles going, so I decide to use these pieces from the Australia DLC to make sure that we do not have any exposed, climbable surfaces for the koalas to climb. I learned my lesson from the capuchin enclosure, and I'm trying to avoid a repeat. So I'm gonna take a moment. It's a long time lapse, so I don't want to ramble through the whole thing and lose my voice. So I'm just gonna take a moment here and let you enjoy me placing all these little pieces before things start to change up again. Alright. That was faster than expected. Oh, time-lapse, how you make things look easy. Next up, I wanted to put something as a bit of a backing over here. Now get your bets in. I think it's obvious already. Do you think the animal will be able to clip through the circular objects in front of them and climb the logs behind them? I don't think I need to know your guesses. Let's be honest with ourselves. So I wanted it to have a more interesting backing. I really wish there was an easy way to make these things non-climbable, because they're nice shapes, they're nice, like they're nice visual elements, but they have that one limitation that means that they can only be used, well, that they cannot be used in certain ways, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to have an interesting backing. We'll actually be getting rid of this eventually and replacing it with something else. But for now as well, I do believe, right, I was taking a look at how do we want to block the koalas escaping over here, and ultimately I decide, you know what, these things will climb over anything, probably, so let's just go ahead and do a proper guest entrance over here. Not a big deal, not very, it doesn't like break the space entirely or anything like that. In fact, it fits quite nicely, better than the path previously, I would say. And again, it's all ramps and stuff as well, so we don't have to worry about accessibility on that front. Though again, what we do have to worry about is benches, food, all that kind of stuff, which is also very important for accessibility if we're talking about it in a holistic sense, right? But next up is a little bit of flooring work, something we haven't done in a very long time. Again, I want to build a very intimate space, and I mean, intimacy means different things to different people, but in my humble opinion, no matter the kind of intimacy we're talking about, there are some things that amplify that feeling more than others. To me, it's really about spending time with other people in a way or in a space where you can really close the world down around you. And by you, I mean you and the people that are hanging out together. Intimacy doesn't have to be between two people, it can be between multiple people. To me, it's like I said earlier, right? It's like there's familial, there's platonic, and there is romantic love, so to speak. So all of that on top of mind. To me, though, everything, like something they all have in common is that sense of being isolated, being separated from anybody else, not being able to get distracted, and something that translates easily for me is such a roundabout way to get to a very simple thing I could have said. But to me, a very quick thing that implements that, or that complements that line of thinking, is just dark spaces. I just feel like when the lights are dim, or when you're in shade, or when you're in cover, or when you're enclosed in a space, and again, darker colors help a space feel a bit more like it's enclosing you. You're either gonna, I mean, if you have claustrophobia, depending on how enclosed you feel, it could be a problem, but I feel like that creates a more, kind of like, for lack of a better word, an intimate space. So I try to go for that with the flooring back over there. We're actually gonna have a whole structure in that space where I put down the dark brown flooring. But I was like, I'm running out of time over here. This is still day one of recording, and I was like, I'm running out of time over here. I've spent so much time decorating the exterior. I need to do something on the interior. So I start building this little structure over here. I wanted to build a climbing platform, a climbing thing, I guess. I didn't know exactly what I wanted it to be. I didn't want to do a treehouse kind of thing, because it's just, not only have I seen that, I've done that so many times, and I feel like, well, why not try something different? Why not, force myself to maybe look at local inspiration or anything, just try something different. This thing was a struggle to make. I was very unhappy with it by the end of day one, because it wasn't working out. The shapes weren't lining up properly. The circle wasn't being circular. There were all sorts of issues. I was very upset at it. But I can very happily say that it pulls through. It does do what it needs to do after a lot of adjusting and finagling. But I will touch on the inspiration for this in just a moment's time when it's a bit more, I think, front and center. For now, though, you can watch me struggle with these pieces as I take another moment and allow you to enjoy the music and the construction work. you can really see I was struggling with the interior shape there. I think I still wasn't very happy with where we are right now, but I was like, man, what am I even doing? Do I need to restart? And then you can see now I'm just like, oh, are the shapes okay? Is everything fine? Am I happy? Is this, that, and the other thing? Just everything felt like the end of the world, honestly. Now we have rather seamlessly transitioned into day 2. This is why, folks, the episode did not release on time, because where the time-lapse had ended, if I were to maintain my sanity and, you know, a sense of a schedule of my, you know, day-to-day life in general, this would be nowhere near complete, and I would feel, I don't know, I'd feel bad not just bringing the animals in, but releasing the episode in that state, just because, I don't know, it felt, again, it felt incomplete, and it felt like, I felt like I had sort of, I felt like if I'd released it at that point, it would have been me just giving up and being like, you know what, here, have it, I'm moving on, or what have you, and I don't like that kind of negativity, right? So I was like, no, well, we'll hold off on the episode, it'll be worth it, and I'm happy to say, I think at least, it was. Fresh eyes, fresh mind, you know, fresh spirit, if you will, coming back, not having to deal with a path anymore, any of that stuff, able to start from the ground up. The first order of business was to establish, again, one of the things that was bothering me a lot was the seam. The terrain seam was, you know, horrible to look at. It was so bumpy and it looked like computer graphics, right? It had like the triangulation and all that. So, first order of business was to hide the edge of the terrain, and we do that by putting down some planters over here. Again, a little bit of finagling over here, a lot of adjusting and tweaking. It all works. I mean, I think at least it all works out in the end. But again, just building a structure over here so that when we look at it from the side, we don't see any of that ugly kind of like, again, the weird triangulation or anything. Getting the mulch in here as well, even though it's not largely visible from the angle. Well, when you can see it, I think the thing about mulch is when it's not there, it's fine, mostly. When it is there, you notice it. And it makes that little bit of a difference. And to me, that difference is kind of worth it. But anyway, so building these little planters over here to cordon off the edges. Again, the koalas will be able to climb onto these because they're low enough. I don't mind that. I don't mind them going for a swim either. They can, you know, get a drink of water, fresh. Ooh, yes, this water is clean. It is connected to the water from the waterfall in the middle and the water that goes to the kangaroo, so the water is clean. But I wanted to make sure that we had, again, it was beautiful, and again, a bit of an enclosed space, and trying to build, again, the garden space, right? Because to me, all the vibes that come from those elements ties into, again, my idea of a quality time with a loved one. Right. So where were we? Right. So this needs to be now duplicated and flipped over. There are so many tools. Whichever planet game comes next, I really hope they add to these construction tools that they have. They are very powerful tools. They are extremely powerful tools. Don't get me wrong. They are very similar to tools that would be used for, you know, 3D modeling software and things like that. But because they're so good, when they are missing an element, it's that much more, like, you feel it that much more, because you're like, y'all thought of everything, but you didn't think of this. Like a mirror tool, right? Just to click a button and things get flipped. Stuff like that. It would be great. I would love that. Mirror symmetry, like symmetrical placement, things like that. That would be amazing. Anyway, if on the inside we have a planter, on the outside I did not want to repeat myself. I thought it'd be nice to have some rocks and stuff. We might put some, you know, water splashes and things like that. I don't want to overdo these rocks. I just like them because they broke up the terrain a little bit, and they made for a more interesting transitional space, and of course they hid the ugly seams. I'm just painting this down to get rid of the grass, the tall grass in the area. It was all poking through the stones and, you know, working for me, obviously. So yeah, again, nothing too crazy or wild over here. I think most of the wild stuff will happen on the interior side. This was more just to further separate the space. These rocks will act as a preventative factor as well, stopping the koalas from escaping, which is, you know, bound to happen. It is one of my enclosures after all. But again, yeah, just kind of like noodling stuff around, trying to get the shape right over here. Might even go back in and adjust these a bit more. Overall, pretty pleased with it though. Overall, happy with how it looks. And again, it's like, from the outer ring. Like it's that the variety of textures I like personally. So I mean, I hope you all do as well. And I can hear, you know, the water rushing against the, or maybe not rushing, but flowing against the rocks and things like that, or even just the side of that and the reflection and all that looks nicer to me than dirt and path on the outer ring. Maybe that's just me though, right? And establishing these little bits over here as well, that'll all make sense after the time lapse. I have some plans. I have lots of plans for this space, and I think that's part of the reason why it took me so long as well. It's like I have so many plans, I could have very easily just been like, you know what, let's set those plans aside, forget about it, let's make it easier. But I didn't want to. I wanted to take on the challenges here. And again, I think it was worth it. Over here, again, still struggling with this shape, still not exactly sure what to do with it. I know I like it, but I don't know what to do with it. And I'm like, do we make like a little gateway in the middle over here? Now it just looks like a pair of spectacles to me. I'm just like, well, that's not nice. That's not good. Looking up some references now of like, okay, well, do I want to do a different kind of like hanging garden space kind of a thing? Which is something I want to do where the dark brown flooring is, like a hanging garden kind of a thing. But I need to do a bit more research for that. Anyway, back on topic. I'm just like looking, wow, I'm still looking at references, just like trying to figure out what do I like, what do I not like. And I was like, all right, let's move these out of the way. Let's start from the ground up, literally from the ground up. I'm gonna go ahead and put down some plants. Tropical and temperate for the koalas. Integrate bright, vibrant colors that, you know, maybe I haven't used so much before. And of course, integrate circles and concentric circles, I believe. Kick off right now. Yeah. So go just building a second layer over here. And things are now starting to take shape. Again, I wanted this to be a garden space. Not a bad idea to start with, you know, the core ingredient of a garden space, I suppose. Again, just doing a little bit of, you know, funky stuff, I suppose, with the layout. Didn't just want it to be circle, circle, circle. Messing around with some stuff, putting some mulch down. And I also put down, I get rid of the tall grass. Tall grass poking through everything. But we also... Oh, right. This is me experimenting with, okay, well, do we build a planter? I will build a planter. I just didn't feel like it right now because this was causing me some struggles right now. And I was like, listen, I've got bigger plans. Let's tackle the bigger stuff first because I want to get this out there and I want to hear or see what people have to say about it. And then I can go in and do the minutia. That can happen afterwards. But yeah, you know, the green and purple, pinkish purple. I would stick with purple. A very, like, light purple, I suppose. Works very nicely together, in my opinion. We got some interesting shapes going on, and now that shape over top feels like there's a purpose for it. Like I can see the koalas climbing that. They're over top of all of the green space. Like now, to me, it's more interesting because it's like, oh, okay, cool. That's there because if the koala doesn't want to be in the flora, they're able to be over it. Cool, makes sense. Eucalyptus trees holding up the centerpieces there. I do have to swap them out for different eucalyptus trees. Not the end of the world. We'll do that shortly after the time lapse. I didn't realize I had the wrong region there. But here now I'm establishing their hard shelter and their eating area. And this is where these pieces really come together and shine. It's something I've thought about previously as well during part 1 of this time lapse, but didn't have a space for it. Didn't have didn't have a spot for it. But even beyond that, this idea is from many sessions ago when we were still, you know, broke more often than not. But you'll remember I'd spoken about looking up architectural references from Tasmania, which is where we are, where the zoo is. And I found these really cool modern interpretation of indigenous structures. And the indigenous structures, they were all like dome-shaped, made of fabric and things like that. If memory serves me, it's been a while now. What I've let happen is I've let my memories translate into production here. But they were all kind of dome-shaped. And so what this architectural firm that is local to Tasmania did, I keep wanting to say Tanzania. I know they're two completely different things, but that's why I always hesitate before I say Tasmania. This architectural firm used that as inspiration and then used modern wood pieces and modern manufacturing methods and stuff to build really nice dome structures, well, hemisphere I should say, structures. Rather, it was a quarter of a sphere, because anyway, you could see out. So you could sit down in the coverage of this dome, and you could look out, and this was on like a hiking path or something like that. And it was like the sights were beautiful. You would sit down, share the space with the people you're traveling with, or yourself if it's just you, and yeah, you can just take in the sights. And to me, that ties into the whole conversation I'm having about spending quality time with somebody, having that intimacy, that privacy, having that unique experience, sharing it with somebody and only with that somebody else. And when I say somebody, I mean plural as well. So I gave that for the koalas, and of course, gonna make a blueprint over here, flip that around, and make it for the people as well. Now, again, as I referred to earlier, right, this is like a nice shaded area. You can kind of like hide, like you're isolated from the rest of the world. You and your friends or whoever, you sit down, you have a bite, you look at the animal, you relax. Everything else is shut out from your life. You don't have to worry about what's to the left or to the right of you. Just the space that you're in is so reduced. And again, like I like it on so many levels because it touches on local architectural styles and things like that as well. But for me, it also epitomizes the whole angle I was going for, all punnery aside. So very, very happy with how this has all kind of come together. And this is where that shape, redeems itself. I go, wow, you know what? I'm glad I didn't just completely trash it. It's all worked together. And now just making a little walk, like a space to walk in through with a little bit of lighting work and stuff like that. This is going to be absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited to get all the lighting and all the little small nooks and crannies figured out over here, and also to finalize the garden space. I say this because we're almost at the end of this time lapse. We're going to actually do a fair bit of work on this area after the time lapse as well. There was a fair bit to do still, but we'll get to that when we get to it. As I was saying, a couple of times during this time lapse, there's still a lot to do. But the idea is out there now. I think I've clearly expressed what I'm going for over here, and I'm really excited to share the conclusion of this. I don't know if it'll be next session or the session after or the one after that even, but it's in a good space now where I can call it a time lapse, I can share it with all of you, and I can show you what I was thinking and why I was thinking it, and I mean, again, even after the time lapse, we do a lot of stuff, which is, I'm really excited to share. It's stuff I've never tried before, so it's been fun. And again, I hope you all enjoyed it as well. If you did or did not like this time lapse, don't hesitate to let me know. As always, I am looking forward to feedback and ideas and thoughts and opinions, so feel free to share. But a lot more work to do over here, but at least it feels special, at least to me. But yes, folks, that is the time lapse. It's time to return to regular speed Party Elite, who will further embellish the space and talk to you about the struggles that we're having over here right now. Losing my voice, this was a long time lapse. Hope you all enjoyed. Back to regular speed. All right, folks, we are back from the, I think, longest time lapse ever recorded for Planet Zoo on this channel. Recorded over 2 days. Wow, that was very time consuming, and it is still not done, obviously, because how could it be? I think I definitely decided to take on way more than what is possibly necessary for an enclosure, but that's what we do around these parts. That's what we do. That's what we overdo around these parts. We definitely committed a lot of time and energy to the koalas over here. Hopefully, it is a high quality enclosure as per their needs, wants, and desires, and as per ours, and as per the guests as well. There's a bit of work to be done still, and I may have mentioned this during the time lapse, or maybe I didn't, but I want to create some more of these little kind of intimate spaces over here. Again, I think I mentioned, literally it's days ago now that I think I mentioned this, that the whole idea of this enclosure is going to be quality time. So coming in and spending some time together with friends, loved ones, or whatever it might be, a little bit of privacy or intimacy, if you will. Now, I don't know if the guests will actually use it in that way, obviously, but we can have our headcanon. But I want to try and do this kind of a thing on both of these side portions as well. But as you can see, for some reason, it won't let me place the benches at the same spot across the board. It's at, okay, that one's fine. But this one over here, it says uneven placement. And I'm just like, it's the ground. Removing the rocks doesn't do anything. I might need to redo the terrain and stuff underneath it, but I'll cross that bridge when we get there. There's some other stuff I want to experiment with as well, and we'll see how well that all works. But yeah, still lots of work to do as well with regards to the central space as well. Just want to add more rocks and natural elements. We'll come back to that soon, I hope. I mean, this obviously the slight shift in schedule, again, for which I apologize, but I think it's reasonable to see why there was this delay now that you've kind of seen the length of that time lapse, for example, and the announcements on Twitter and stuff that I sent out. But there's obviously a slight change of plans in terms of how I want to do the next couple of sessions. Next session was supposed to be a management one, if I recall correctly, but maybe instead of that, we do the beauty pass. That includes the addition of the sponsor boards in the next session, and then maybe the session after that we come back over here, finish this off, and then the session after that we do a management session. That seems... What is today? I've completely lost track of my days. So that would make... I am currently recording Tuesday's episode. it's completely throwing me off. So Tuesday we've done this. Thursday we're going to go ahead and do the beauty pass plus sponsor boards. That should involve a lot of work, well, I mean, across the board, hopefully. Pun entirely intended, of course. That is Thursday's episode. Then on Saturday, I want to come back over here and finish this off completely. And then on Monday, we will do a management session. Now, again, I mean, I'm saying that now. Don't take that as concrete. Things always change, obviously. But if we keep that up, then, next week, Tuesday, we'll add a new animal to the Africa section. And then kind of keep like a loop going, something like that, and that way we can have big enclosures, we can complete the enclosures, as we go through them, and we can constantly, or consistently rather, add new animals. Anyway, this episode has probably already gone on for long enough, so let's go ahead and make sure we get our animals in. That would be quite unfortunate. I sincerely hope we do have some high-quality koalas available. Did I call them koala bears earlier? I feel like I called them koala bears earlier. My apologies if I did that. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for koalas. Let's go for it. And I could set up more trading and stuff. I think I'll do that during that management session I talked about. Do another... Oh, are you serious? Do another whole trade session. This isn't ideal at all. I mean, Hunter over here is all right, I suppose. Might as well, right? If we have no other options. Price is not filtered. So, all right. Well, if that's all we can do, that's all we can do. Let's go ahead and adopt you. Kind of surprising, actually. The DLC is so new to only have so many of these little guys available. Over to quarantine, please. Yes. I will need a name for this enclosure as well, of course. And I do intend to sort of set up more staff things in the area as well. I mean, this whole thing, I mean, all the flooring I'll probably be customizing. This area will be customized as well. I want to create sort of, again, intimate kind of viewing spots over here as well. I might build some shade. Have like some overhead, like hanging garden kind of stuff going on. I've got plans. I've got lots of plans. Just a matter of having the time to execute them. And again, experimenting with a lot of things that I've never done before, so it's also a little bit slow going from time to time. But I'm definitely having fun, just like, trying stuff that I guess I haven't tried before. Again, getting that like gravel path in here. Might do a little bit of rock work over here to separate the area. Building this dome was interesting. I mean, you'll remember many sessions ago now we tried doing something like that in the center over here, but finally kind of executed it to a style and aesthetic that I think works for the area. Anyway, sorry, I keep getting distracted. Am I really unable to get a pair of koalas? I guess I could get a female purchased as well. Sure. We'll breed them to perfection. How about that? Go ahead and adopt you as well. And that's Penelope. And it was the first one, Hunter, I believe. So yeah, I will need an enclosure name, and I will be looking to establish eating areas and stuff like that. But today what I really want to do is I want to make sure this enclosure works as intended as we unpause over here. I want to make sure that we're not going to have any major issues. Why are all these animals so unhappy? Base. Oh, I know what's happened here. It happens often. Nudge you. Undo you, and that'll fix that, I think, if it didn't already get fixed before I even nudged it. So that's that taken care of. Over here, animal is hungry, low welfare. It is all food related, I assume. Yeah, social looks fine. All right, fair enough. The other thing I want to toy around with while we're waiting for the koalas to be taken care of. Okay, this needs to be fixed here, otherwise it'll drive me wild. Go ahead and change your color to white so you'll stop flickering. Excellent. Okay. I really want to try and do... I don't know if this will work. I really don't know if this will work, but... let's see. No. I guess it's going to be... Where is it? Special effects. Not rapids, not... Okay, so first of all, the waterfall... I think I said there weren't going to be any waterfalls. Clearly that was a lie. This doesn't work. This is too big. So let's go with the jet. I think medium will do the trick. Oh, there. Oh, this might work. Okay, so jet small. So big. Anything smaller than that? What I was hoping to do is... Oh, that kind of works. I don't want the splashing happening, though. Might not be able to make this work as I'd hoped. Okay, well, what I wanted to do over here was get the jet. Alright, let's rotate you like so. Pull you back a little bit. Oh my god, jet. How about the small jet? Here we go. We do this kind of a thing. This kind of a thing. There we go. You can kind of see it's like falling down over here. Maybe like sharpen this angle a bit more. Yes, like that. Okay, okay. Put you over there. And then put you over here. Come on now. Ah, quarantines have been passed already. Just want to see if I can't get this to work. Come on. There we go. No, that's too much. And again, it's all special effects, so I can't even do this during a time lapse. So this is what I want the ends to kind of have going for them. Add a few more of these. My hope is to imply that water is being brought down from this top area. So as you're kind of sitting, you have this like water going by. A nice little, you know, again, like a little water feature, I guess is what it would be called. Get rid of you, get rid of you. There we go. A little bit here. And just a little bit more here. The white on white is very hard to read, I know. Let's do that for now. We'll finesse that in a bit. So yeah, you can see the water is kind of pouring out on the sides. I just need to get this central area looking like it's got water in it. So I got to figure that out. But before I do that, let's go ahead and get Hunter and Penelope moving over to Habitat 23. I really hope they like the space. I really hope they like the space. We'll have to get donation bins. There's all sorts of stuff we have to do over here. Donation bins, trash cans, plenty of stuff, plenty of stuff. But again, I just want to get the animals in. I want to see if they like the space. I want to see how they behave. I also, actually, before I forget, because I know I will, need to go ahead, not vet research, though, fine, sure, why not? We'll have to adjust that as well, but staff, work zones, Australia, go ahead and add. Cool. Yeah, there's a long distance to all the staff stuff, so we'll have to get something established up over here, maybe. I want to make sure that the staff isn't having too much trouble, and we'll probably need to add some more staff soon as well, actually. But yeah, this, okay, I'm not 100% sure how I want to go about doing this. Jet doesn't quite do the trick. Dirt falling, falling leaves. I mean, those falling leaves and stuff might be nice for like just, you know, making a nice environment over here. Aligned to surface. Let's turn that on. Like, what does that do for us? I mean, that might be pretty, but that's not what we need right now. We need this to work. Smoke burst, mist. Mist. What about mist? What about small mist? A little bit. That's not. I wouldn't necessarily call that small, but we could put some down over here. Makes the area feel a bit more interesting, I think. Pull you up a little bit. Where? Why is... They're over here. Animal has escaped. Is that a koala already? What's the deal over here? What's the deal over here? Where can you escape from right from the start? Oh, you can just climb right over this, eh? You can just climb right over this. Okay, fair enough. I shouldn't be surprised. Oh, they can swim? They don't mind swimming? Okay. Well, this is gonna be a bit of an adventure. Well, they're not able to get out over here though. Because they get blocked off over here. Okay, interesting. Well, alright. Okay. I mean, a little bit of this is easy to solve. We just gotta move this stuff over. I think they can't get over the rocks. I'd be shocked if they can get over the rocks. If they can, then kudos to them. I deserve everything I get. Do that, and can we get you? Listen, I'm well aware of the situation here. Thank you very much. Can I? Nope, I can't. Honestly, the move icon being hidden like that is probably one of the most frustrating elements. There we go. I'm gonna pull you back here, sure. Okay, we're okay over here. Oh, they were quick to escape. I had a feeling that it was going to be a bit of a problem with the logs right behind, because those are climbable. I was hoping that I'd made enough of a distance to avoid that issue, but clearly not. That's okay. That's okay. All right, can I do what here? That doesn't help. Come on. Come on. We over here. Let's see if the rocks actually work first. Shall we? See if the rocks actually work first. If they don't, then I'll need a more nuclear option, so to speak. Do that. Go. How are we feeling now? Why not just show me the whole thing? Why not just show me the whole thing? I think we're okay. Yeah, we should be fine. We'll find out. But over here, this will be a problem. I mean, again, I can just get rid of these completely. Though I don't know if the... Honestly, I don't know if the koalas will just be able to climb the little circular barrier that I've built as well. The pattern, circle pattern barrier, whatever you want to call it. I just pull this back ever so slightly. Don't want to get rid of it just yet. Let's test if that does the trick first. Go ahead and unpause, let it recalculate. And no, still able to get out, eh? Look at this little guy. Not a care in the world. Not a care in the world. Okay, why are they still able to get out, though? How are you able to climb up there? Are you able to go up this way? Is that what you're telling me? That's what I'm reading over here. Okay, fair enough. If that's the case, then let's go ahead and sort this out. Pull a few more of these out. I'm okay with it being a little rough right now, just as we try to solve this issue. But I would like to solve this issue before... Like, I'd like to get this done today where the animal's not escaping, and then that way we can focus on getting the education board and stuff done, rather than having to worry about them constantly escaping still. Down over here, can I get you perhaps? Go up here this way. That ought to do the trick. They shouldn't be able to climb these. These should be obstruction. Get this tiny one in here. Peel this area off. It's so weird working with this again. It's literally been days since I've worked with these pieces. Okay, so that's that. Go ahead and unpause again and check. I know we all eagerly want to see the cuteness of the koala, but I am being super diligent in trying to fix this first. Why? Why can you still get up over here? Oh, you know what? Probably counting these. Of course. Already trying to make a break for it. I think I have to adjust the barriers lines a bit more as well, actually. Because I think right now, yeah, there's a little gap there that they're using to escape, so to speak. Pull this thing back over here. Just pulling it back for now so I can experiment, and then we'll be adjusting it, making it out of something else, or doing something with it. I wish there was a way to make these things climb-proof as well. I want to be very careful during this time lapse not to build out of anything that is extremely like not to use too many climbable pieces. Learn my lesson from the Capuchin, I suppose. But only partially learn my lesson. Can't ever learn a full lesson, obviously, around these parts. Okay, we're done here. Thank you. I don't think they've still escaped. They should technically be inside now. Go ahead and unbox you, please. Can't. Why not? Can I move you and then unbox you? Hopefully somebody unbox... There we go. Unbox all animals. No, you're not being unboxed. I imagine they're still counting as an escape. Maybe they need to be picked up. Not destination, not set. Let's see what this guy does over here. All right, but first, I want to see... How did this not update? You're still able to climb. How are you still able to climb? How does that make any sense? That must have not updated. As you can see, this now pulls back behind the barrier. Wow, okay, this is definitely not updated. Because I've pulled all this back, for sure. Right, like all this goes way farther back now. So something is up with this recalculation. Here's what we're gonna do. Move you. Not to Simba Kaburi. But to, sure, the trade center for now. And then move you to the trade center. Alright. Let's take them out and bring them back. Oh, it looks like it was instant teleports. Fair enough. Animal trading. Or this is our trade center. Just give me the koalas, please. I always do this to myself. I always put ourselves in a situation where, why is this an invalid destination? What? Still an invalid destination. Okay. What's going on over here? Habitat perimeter crosses over itself. Where? Over here? I guess so. Maybe that's why I wasn't updating. Didn't really give me a warning or anything. And I... Oh, what's the move button there? Over here, let's go ahead and add another one in the middle over here, if it would let me. Come on. Come on, I believe in you. Maybe I don't. Move you over a little bit. There we go. Maybe pull you back a little bit. Come on now. If you go over there, and you come over here. There. That ought to do the trick, right? You'd think. Let's find out. Well, let's find out, Hunter. Let's get you in here. Invalid destination. Why? River crosses over itself still. Okay. Where? And you know what? Actually, it might just be easier for me to get rid of all that and just redo it. Just redo it. Pull you back immediately. Let's go out this way next. Come on. Terrain too uneven for placement. Man, honestly, null barrier placement should not be this difficult in this game. I know I make it worse for myself by overdoing some of the like terrain and all that kind of stuff sometimes, but like it's a null barrier. Just let me place it wherever. There's a lot of like there's a lot of issues with enclosure adjustment, which is just a matter of what's the word I'm looking for? Like user experience. Like it shouldn't be difficult to place them. The move button should be up top. Like it's kind of funny to me because it is probably the single most important part of a game like this is being able to build your place your enclosure barriers and stuff like that easily, considering it's about, you know, it's about making enclosures for animals. But there are so many issues with the process. It is very confusing to me. Terrain to uneven for placement. You're a null barrier. You don't take space. Nothing. Why should I be limited? You know, that kind of stuff. It just confuses me. It just confuses me. All right, let's hope that does the trick, because if it doesn't, then I am at a loss. Perimeter crosses over itself. You go over this way, all the way around. Come back. Close up over here. What is the issue? Is this the issue? This is the only other change I can think of. Just, come on, work for me here. Alright, cool, there we go. That was the issue. Wow. It's okay, it's okay. I'm perfectly happy with having redone the perimeter as well. Where are we? Animal trading. Looking for my koalas. Hunter, get you in here. There we go. Watch them escape again. Penelope, get you in here as well. Boom, there we go. Alright. Guests are super happy, so that's good at least. Some silver linings to think about. Habitat cleanliness is a disease risk. Where is this? 22. Why is this not being cleaned up? Why is this not being cleaned up? Let's go ahead and get a keeper to come through. Still super happy with how these spaces have turned out as well. Alright, let's go back to the koalas. The zoo is huge. Really hope guests make their way over. I want to beautify like these little pockets here as well. Oh, this was such a challenge making this entire area connect. I really hope guests come through properly. Alright, where'd you go? Where are you guys? Not delivered yet? Yep, still waiting. Still waiting. It is a long way to go. That's for sure. Well, while we're waiting for them to arrive here, back over here. Now, this is something I want to do over here as well. Just to, again, bring some life to the space. And make it, again, feel like there's something going on in the area that isn't just water coming in out of nowhere or what have you. Might even make the... Well, no, I don't think I need the large ones, but I think I want them to splash out a little bit further. There we go. Looks like our koalas are arriving as well. This is going to be... Group you together. Group you together. A lot of pieces. I'll have to do like the ripples and stuff like that. I'm here, so I just want to get this done now that I'm here. You, get rid of you. There we go. Come on now. There we go. Rotate you a little bit. I think we finally come to that point where we have to rotate. Yep. Up we go. In we go. Inbreeding is not acceptable over here. Go ahead and put that on. There we go. Animal has escaped. Yeah, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? This is going to be a problem. What's going on over here? You are able to climb the rocks, are you? Not over here, though. Just over here. Okay. Oh, no. You're able to get up over here. That's why you're able to get out. How are you getting up over there? What is your escape route? What is your escape route? Alright, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get rid of these, I think. Just get rid of them. We can always place them later. It's not the end of the world. Chances are we're not going to. Chances are we have to build something that's far less room for climbing. Far less potential for climbing, I should say. Okay, get rid of all of you. Again, I guess it's the animal just kind of clipping through the edges and being able to get in. Alright. With that done. Unpause here, let that recalculate. There we go. Yeah. It just, I don't know how they were able to clip into something so far away from there, but whatever. It is what it is. They're able to swim. They're able to get climbing up on these things as well. Yes, excellent, excellent. They are super happy with the space. They need a little less long grass, which is good. I'm glad to hear that, because I would like to reduce the long grass as well. Let's just go ahead and paint the terrain for grass. There we go. There we go, up over here as well. Yep, excellent. Let me actually keep this open. Ooh, they don't like the... Oh, this is from Asia. Oh. Oh, right, because I'd searched eucalyptus, not, hadn't specified Australia. Okay, so I do need to adjust that a little bit. If you're happy enough, I could add a bit more sand or soil. Go ahead and get some soil going, some light soil, as it were. Looks like guests are coming through, so that's good. I'd like to make this feel more like a path that's been walked on. Here we go. There we go. Cool. They're still happy. Excellent. They have all their climbing stuff they need as well. Guests are able to walk through because a lot of revenue we're missing out on over here with these guys not doing anything. But I do want to check. Okay. I have to change the eucalyptus trees. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Swap these guys out. You are from Australia pack. There we go. There were options. I just liked the shape of those ones better, I guess. No big deal, though. No big deal. Not aligned to surface. Do kind of this kind of a thing. So it feels like the tree split through the path over here. I actually quite like that. Not gonna lie, I do quite like that. Great. And then do we have another one that is a little different, perhaps? But still fits through this gap. This one definitely doesn't. This one, maybe. Nah, it's a little chunky, isn't it? Just a little bit. Actually, you know, it still looks like it works. I quite like that. You know, I like these shapes, so I'm happy that I had to replace those trees. Looks like things are functioning. Food will be dropped off over here. Hard shelter, right? That's something I didn't check. Do they have enough hard shelter? Yes, they do. Are you tumbling? No, you're climbing. You are climbing upside down. Oh, look at them though. They are so cute. This is an awkward angle for you to be in, but hey, if that's what you like, that's what you like. Oh my god, look at those ears. Look at those eyes. Oh, look at those blinks. They're so cute. Where's the other one? There you are, buddy. I'm gonna want to add like some plaster or something over here to block off the mulch at the bottom too. But right now, let's just enjoy the fruits of our labor, shall we? What a cutie. Oh, what an absolute cutie. Very glad to be able to make this into a walkthrough enclosure, and again, you know, having some fun with our shapes and all that, having some fun with our cultural references too. I might want to, I mean, you know, like this is going to bother me to no end. I might want to try and line some of this stuff up so it's right down the middle. I need to rotate this and things like that. There's going to be work to do. Either we do that and we fine tune all this, or I have to just accept it for the limitations that there might be. But let's go ahead and I can't help myself but do this really quickly just to see if it'll work. That's a little too big. Way too big. Go with jet. Jet. I want to get this rippling going. Yeah, rippling at the bottom here. Just brings the space to life a bit more. And down over here as well. Come on. Come on. I'm gonna try it. There we go. Cool. I just gotta figure out the same stuff over here as well. Gotta complete this as well. Quickly. Every second I'm playing right now is us losing revenue, so part of me is very much cognizant of that. There we go. That might actually be it. And if we go into construction, get large, and we do this kind of a thing. Yeah, feels like the water's pushing out from there. I like that. Just got to figure out how to do this like top section so it looks like water's actually flowing up and down this area over here. Again, I was hoping to be able to do like the jet small or something, but doesn't seem like it wants to cooperate either. You can see the effect I'm going for, though. You can see the rippling, right? But the water itself is a problem, obviously. I wonder if I flip this over completely. Ooh. I might be... Yes, there we go. Oh, wow. Okay. Hey, that worked. Yeah, nice. You know what? I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. It is a little large, so it's not like I can put it right down the middle and have it actually flow out perfectly, I'll be completely honest, but I'll take what I can get here. Seems like it's still trying to push water up. There we go. Oops. See how I feel about this when I boot in next session, I guess. Okay, okay. There we go. Yeah. It kind of does the trick. It kind of has the illusion going there. The white, again, makes it a little hard to see. So I want to adjust that, but feeling pretty good about that. All right, guests are coming through. The koalas are having a quality time. I'm having a quality time. Am I having a quality time? Yes, I am. Of course I am. Are you having a quality time? If you are, like buddy over here who's been chilling here for, I think, ever. Are you okay? Are you okay? Need some enrichment and stuff. Need to still finish off their enclosure, obviously. But I will make that all a part of the, again, beauty pass that I'm thinking of doing next time. That'll include sponsor boards. It'll include capping off these guys' enclosure with bins and donation spots and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you guys did have, as I was saying, a quality time, please don't hesitate to let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below. This has been quite the undertaking. We have done a fair bit, and there's still a fair bit to go. This is going to be a full-on like garden space, so yeah, still a long way to go, but it'll be a fun journey. Hopefully, I can you know, pick up some new skills and stuff while trying to sort this out and create a rather beautiful space. This is gonna kill me though, if I can't get this thing to work out properly. Like, what's okay? Let's see. This goes straight down. This is still okay, I guess. I think I might need to adjust this. I can't help myself right now. Give me 1 second here. I'll like rotate this ever so slightly, right? And that looks about right. Like that. This is too far to the side here, right? Just gotta go. Oh, actually, you know what? This is not a problem. Okay, okay. So the problem is actually this. Actually, this makes me feel a lot better. This little tip at the end over here. I do not want to redo the pathing. I'm not gonna lie. I do not want to redo the pathing. Anyway, I'll sort this out when the time comes, folks. For now, gonna call it a session. I hope you enjoyed this one. I certainly did. It came with its challenges, which is always fun in its own way to kind of try and overcome those kinds of things. Very excited to see how far I can push this. Again, experimenting with something completely different and completely new for myself, so always a fun time. Folks, as always, a massive thanks goes out to all of my channel members and patrons for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.